Hi, this is Rex, W1REX, and I'm on the final stages of building the Rockmite 2++. And the last thing we have to do, we've got the band modules built, we've got the main board built. We just got to wind the transformer for the output that goes right down in here. I will pull this off. This is the low pass filter module. Here's the crystal module. Okay, I'll pull the output transistor off, and you can see that we have this little set of holes for this transformer down here, and this is the the 23-41 toroid. Very small, but it's not that bad. There's only 8 turns. I'm going to move this out of the way. I'm going to try doing this in the center of the screen. So I've got a little over 6 inches of red wire, and I'm going to wind this by hand because I don't have a toroid winding tool that goes this small. So I will put the first bend in it, and I'll hold it in my fingers. That's 1 turn, and we need 8 turns for the primary. So I just feed it down, just like threading a needle. Get it nice and tight. That's 2 turns. There's 3 turns. 4 turns. Whoops, slipped. 5 turns. 6 turns. 7 turns. And 8 turns. I'm making sure when I pull them tight that the what I'm going to pull tight is not crossing over any of the previous turns. So usually I put my thumbnail on the last turn, so I know that when I tighten it up, it won't overlap and cross over turns. So then you can arrange it and then spread the turns out so they're evenly around the toroid. I'm just moving the leads around with my fingernail, and that looks like that's still there low. Go. Okay, I would say that looks pretty good. And of course, in the documentation, this is a Xerox of it, so we don't see the colors on this print very well. But the paper document is in color. So I've got the primary down here. So if you look, I've got the primary holding in my hand down below, and I'm going to come in and wind the secondary in between the primary turns. And the secondary wants to be 5 turns, and we'll use green wire for that, so we can keep them apart. There should be a piece of green wire in your kit. I'm searching for it now in my leftover parts. In my leftover parts, I'm looking for my little piece of green wire. And, oh, there it is up there. I lied. It's not there. It is there, but it's not there. All right. Where'd my green piece of magnet wire go? There it is. Little spool of green wire. I was fooled. I saw this bigger spool, but this is 22 gauge, which isn't going to wrap around this very well at 5 turns. So I'm going to unspool this. I always ship amp or more wire than is required. In this case, we only want 5 turns of this wire. But I've got enough in the spool so that in case you mess up, you got a chance to do a do-over. So as you can see, we need about 6 inches, and there's over a foot of it here. So you can try it twice. If you fail the first time, try doing better on the second time. So we got 5 turns. It can't be more than 6 inches of wire. So I'll cut out about 6 inches of wire. And as the picture goes, and if you look at the kit, let me get a pointer here. Here's the primary turns, primary, and the secondary turns are up here. So we want to come off this top side right here. We want a secondary up in that neck of the woods. So I'm going to start turning, and they go in between the primary windings. So I'm gonna come up. Oops. I'm going to come up between those secondary windings up there, and I'm going to go in between the windings. So I got 1 turn already. Here's the second turn. I want to make sure it goes between those windings. So there it is, sitting right between those 2 windings. I'll come up again between them. It says 2 turns. Here's the 3rd turn. Okay, and now I'm going to come up between the windings again. Here's the 4th turn. Oops. When I take and straighten the wire with my fingers after every turn, because it's a lot easier to thread that when you've got a nice straight piece down there. So that was the 4th turn, and here's the 5th turn. Okay, so I can come out over here like so, and like so. So I got the primary turns down the bottom, secondary turns coming out around 9 o'clock and 11 o'clock. So I can cut. You can see I've got about, maybe you can't see, I got 3 inches of wire to spare there, so I really didn't need anywhere near what I had. I'll cut it off, cut the 2 primaries off. Get them out of the way. I'm going to set this aside. I got my soldering iron over off to the side warming up, so I'll be ready to solder it in as soon as I get these leads prepped. So now I've got to strip them of the enamel. Again, old school for me, so I'll get my little razor knife. It should be right here on the bench. I just used it when I was winding there it is. Here's my little razor knife. Harbor Freight, 50 cents I think they are. And I'll just start it off. Now this one's going to go down onto the board, so it'll be 1 thickness of toroid off, so I don't have to get right up to the toroid. I can lay off a little bit. And this one is coming in from the bottom, but it's going to be pulled out a little bit, so I think I can start where it comes out. And I'll just scrape on one side. Then I'll flip it over my hand. I'll support it with my finger. I poked my finger with something, but that Band-Aid comes in handy now because I can lay this leads right down on it and not fear that I cut myself. Now that might be a good tip. Put a Band-Aid on your finger when you're using a knife and you want to scrape against it. Okay, I'll do the same thing on the two secondaries. I hope this comes out okay. I can see my hands are really white in the screen. I only have 3 little battery operated lights. They're not even lighting the scene. They're off to one side. I'm just in the edges of their footprint. And I got a lot of light flooding in from a window right behind me, or right in front of me, I should say. Sorry about that. Okay, I prepped them with that. Now I get my little piece of sandpaper. This is wet or dry black 220 grit. Let's see if I can just... I mean, yeah, this is not the easiest thing to do, but it's not really that hard. Some people live in fear of having to wind a toroid. And once you get 2 or 3 of them under your belt, it's not that bad. So sit down some night and just wind some toroids. Or if you don't want to go, if you don't have a use for the toroids and you don't want to waste them, just get some Cheerios out and wind some magnet wire around that and see if you can do it without breaking the Cheerio. Well, lifesavers. Yeah, there you go. Lifesavers. I always got those around. Especially wintergreen. Okay, let's see what we're doing here. A little bit more on the secondaries. See if I can... I just keep moving around to get to the different sides of the wire. Instead, if I had my soldering station with me, it wouldn't be any bad. I could dial it up to like 800 degrees and burn that enamel off. But where I've got this little $15 Amazon iron, which is a typical iron that someone might use in a who's just new and doesn't have the investment of a nice soldering station. This only goes up to 480 degrees, so it's not very effective burning off the enamel. So I like to help it by getting most of it off. Okay, so now I'm going to reorient these leads and make sure I'm looking pretty good. So here's... Oh, yeah, see, I flipped it over. Sorry about that. So here are my two primary leads down bottom. My secondary leads coming out at 9 o'clock and 11 o'clock. So looking pretty good. So now I got to sit here. I got to try... I'm going to try to tin these. So I'll bring my iron out, my stand out, put my iron on it. Oh, I'm going to clean it first. Looks good. I'll clean it, put it on the stand, hit it with a little solder on the end. So I got a little puddle there that I can put the lead in. Now, I'm going to hold it by the secondary. This is where you don't want to go wrong here. Let's see. I'm going to get it where I'll hold it by a secondary wires because they're isolated from the primary wire. I mean, I'm holding on the primary and I'm going to tin the secondary. So the heat doesn't travel down the wire and get me. Okay, I will I'm going to clean them up again. It behooves you to do this carefully, because you only want to do it once. You only want to put this thing in once. You don't want to have to take it out and mess with it and then solder it back in, because that will really mess up your project. So in this case, I'm taking a little extra time and energy to make sure that it looks really good before I try installing it. So I'm going to re-tin these a second time. I'm adding a little bit of fresh solder just for the flux. Okay. Alright, so then I'll go back and now I'll hold on to the secondary and try to melt those primaries. Okay. And again, I'll touch them up. I see a little bit of melting action, so I'm going to clear that away. That's the enamel globbing up. Melt up, scrape those away, and then tin it a second time. I don't see enough solder on this lead right here. I'm going to set that down. I can feel that heat coming through, and you can see that glob of stuff on the top. That's a little bit more of the enamel that melted away. Okay, looks good. I'm just going to do a final little bit of piece of tinning to that. Okay, and then I can put it on the board. In this case, I'm going to put it's easy if you cut one set of leads a lot shorter than the other. And then what I'm going to do is I'll feed the secondary leads down in the secondary holes. They're quite long. Okay. Then I'll get my pliers. I'll bend the primary holes down, primary leads down. There's one. There's two. Oops, came out. I thought I had my thumb on it, but I didn't. Come on, go down the hole. Be a good little rabbit. Oops. It's not, okay. It's not lining up in that hole very well. Okay. It keeps bending over is what it does, so I'm gonna take it out. Try to get it pre-bent in the right way. If I can pick it up and hold on to it. Come on, you silly little transformer. Okay, so here's a secondary and a secondary. Secondary, secondary. Gonna bend them down. And here's the primary. I'm gonna bend those down. I'm sorry, I'm kind of backwards here. These are the secondaries over here on this side. So I'll bend those down and see if I can't get them started in the holes. They're starting rather nicely. Get them down in there. Go all the way. Well, they're not all the way, but they're, my transformer's almost sitting up vertically. And then I'm going to try to coax those back in. Sorry, I wanted off screen. Come on. There's that one I've been able to get every single time. It's that second one that's giving me problems. Come on. Come on. Get in that little hole. Jeez. Okay. I'm going to turn the board a little bit. Oh, got myself on my iron. Turn the board a little bit. I put my finger right on the iron. Oh, that hurt a little bit. Okay. Other secondaries. Okay. Okay, secondaries are in just fine. This primary has bent back down underneath itself again. I've lost it. I don't even know where it is now. Oh, there it is right there. There's one of them. Oh, there's one. Now here's the second primary. There they all are. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so is that thing sitting down there nicely? I got green and green, red and red. Oh, crud. No, that first one. That first one wandered back underneath again. Just bring it up. I'm going to move off screen a little bit more because I got a little bit better light. Oh, there we are. I got a little bit better light over here. I'll bring it back when I got started in the hole. Okay, now I got it started in the hole. Pushing it down, I can see it there. I'll pull it up. 1, 2. Okay, finger on this. There's secondary, secondary, primary, primary. I'm bending the leads over just to hold them where they need to go. I can set the board back down. Go clean my iron tip. Put a little solder on it. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Oop, number 4 didn't look like it. I'm going to fill that up with. Okay, they all look good connection wise, so I can cut them off. Come on. first blivet on my nice soldering pad. Okay, that looks like it's in there pretty good. So I can put the transistor back in. Remember, I put those three things in there. You can experiment, and that's why I suggest you socket it, because if you experiment with this transistor, if you come get your hands on a 2219A, you can actually get more output out of this thing. I've been getting almost a watt with this 3866. So there is it all built. And what it does is, here I got the case, the optional case with a nice front panel on it, and you slide this baby in, and with a little bit of guidance, this is just a little bit, it goes in and sits flush on the back, and you put the end cap on, and you got yourself a Rockmite 2++. And this thing will make you pretty happy when you're running it, as opposed to the old Rockmite, because I've got the P&E mod in it. All the connectors are better, but you can just pull this out, change those two modules, and you only have to change the crystal if you're going to move around the same band. But if you want to move to a different band, then you just change the low pass filter and then put new crystals in, and you're on a new band. And there you are. That's it for this video. Thank you very much.